What is good, internet? It is Spirit of Paradox here, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to be talking about the Killzone franchise and how Guerrilla Games basically killed it off quietly in the back of the shed. So, I have been a fan of the Killzone franchise for a very long time. I actually played Killzone 1 as a kid very briefly, but I didn't really get into it. I didn't get into Killzone until Killzone 3 and 2 on my second PlayStation 3, because my first one had broke. And I've loved the franchise ever since. I own pretty much every single game. I own Killzone 1, 2, and 3. I own Shadowfall, which sucked. And I also own Killzone Mercenary on the Vita. And I also own Killzone Liberation as well. So when it comes down to the franchise, I've known how the franchise has been. And I've seen all of the flaws for a very long time. The reason why Killzone unfortunately failed is because Guerrilla Games kept changing the identity of Killzone before the PS4 even came out. Well, if you think about it, Killzone 1, it was okay but flawed for what it was, and, we could see the potential there. Killzone 2 is considered, and not considered, it is the best one in the franchise. And that was basically when they got the identity and got the gameplay, the vision of Killzone right. Everybody who played Killzone 2 pretty much says it's the best one in the franchise. When it came down to the multiplayer, we had big maps. We had I think there was I think there were vehicles in the PvP in Killzone 2. I know there was some vehicles like the robotic jet flying thing. What is that called again? It was in Killzone 3 and it was in the snowy like area of Helghan. I forgot what that machine was called, but it was like a jetpack. So we had that in like Killzone 3. But the difference between each of the main three games is one, Killzone 2 felt like a different version of Battlefield, but it had its own unique spin. Killzone 3 started to become more like Call of Duty. The vision of Killzone was still there, the identity of Killzone was still there, but it felt more like Call of Duty, even though I played Killzone 3 the most. Then we had Liberation, spin-off, not a first-person shooter, and we had Killzone Mercenary, which was on the Vita, and I would still say it is probably one of the best games you can buy on the PlayStation Vita to this day. It's absolutely fantastic. I recommend people getting a Vita and buying Killzone Mercenary for that. I really enjoyed that game a lot and even played some of the PvP. Then we had Killzone Shadowfall. This is the game that killed the franchise, in my opinion and in many opinions of the Killzone fans and in the community. Killzone Shadowfall in every aspect was lame. The only thing that was actually good about Killzone Shadowfall was the graphics. That was it. The voice acting, horrendous. If you heard that Keller guy when he was talking to the black guy, I forgot the black guy's name because he was so horrible as well. He's actually a British actor and they got him out here rocking an American accent. Horrible accent, by the way. Voice acting, horrible. Gameplay, boring. It went from a war game to like some tactical espionage first-person shooter that didn't even do the espionage right? So there was a lot more stealth. You wasn't on a battlefield as a soldier. You was in like behind the scenes doing like Black Ops things. This was just not Killzone in any way, shape, or form. Killzone Shadowfall is bad. And if Killzone Shadowfall was the first game in the Killzone franchise you played, I'm sorry to tell you, you started off on the worst entry in the entire franchise. And what they did with that bullshit ending in Killzone Shadowfall, right? Like, oh my gosh, that bullshit ending. So, before I get to the ending, let me give you a synopsis of the story. So, there were two sides on Earth that went to war. One side would end up being the ISA, or the humans, or Vector, and then one side was basically the predecessors of what the Helghast would become. They basically lost the war and they moved to Helghan. Helghan is a harsh planet, but it has full of natural resources. And basically, when they moved to planet Helghan, the people who moved there became, or started to change. Their bodies started to change due to the atmosphere and overall the environment. And you started to see Helghast get that pale skin that we normally would see the Helghast get in the franchise. And this took a few generations, right, for the Helghast species to fully acclimatize to Helghan. Then, after the Helghast rebuilt their culture on Helghan, they basically went to Earth in Killzone 1 and started the war all over again. We defeated that side of the army. Then basically in Killzone 2, we go to Helghan and bring the war to their planet. Because the Helghast came back after they lost the first war and they moved to Helghan. They came back generations later in the first game and started the war. In Killzone 2, the humans were like, yo, you came and attacked our planet. We let you leave planet Earth to move to Helghan, and we let you go. Now you've started shit again. We're going to your planet. So that was basically Killzone 2. You go to Helghan, you see their culture, you see their cities, you see, like, it's a really cool game. I absolutely recommend Killzone 2. And Guerrilla Games, can you at least port it onto modern consoles so we can play them at least? Like, come on, you piss takers. You will go and bloody remaster Horizon Zero Dawn when that game is already able to be played and has fantastic graphics anyway, but we can't get that for Killzone? Fuck you. But anyway, so Killzone 2, right, we go to Helghan and we basically take out their leader, Scholar Vazari. This guy was basically the main big bad of the Helghast army. He was the guy in charge of the Helghast. Everybody worshipped him, right? And then by the ending of the game, you take out his closest soldier, Radek. Love Radek. He was a badass in Killzone 2. He's basically like, I don't know, if Palpatine is Vazari, then like Radek was Darth Vader. Like, you know one of them ones is? So Vazari, Palpatine, Radek was Darth Vader, but obviously didn't last as long as Darth Vader. So you killed off Radek, and then by the ending of the game, you basically go and get Scholar Vazari. You catch him. Like, you basically, there's no way for him to go anywhere. And he's basically giving off this speech, right? And you and your squad members are there in the room, basically are telling him, like, you are under arrest, the war is over. One of your teammates called Rico, and this guy was such a dick. And he was in nearly every Killzone game. So he was in Killzone 1, 2, 3, and I believe Liberation as well. Black guy. He was always just pissed off and angry. And he was always just being a hothead. This guy goes and kills Scholar Vazari. And that was the biggest mistake he did, or they could have ever done. After the humans or the ISA killed the Helghast like leader, the Helghast are basically like, fuck it, we don't care anymore. We don't care what you bring. We will, like, they were pissed. Like, the Helghast army were pissed, bro. Like, everyone who was a Helghast was angry. You killed our leader. They're like, yo, bro, we don't care what happens to us. We want you dead for that. That's what happened in the ending of Killzone 2 and in the very beginning of Killzone 3. So Killzone 2 ends where Killzone 3 begins. Very same minute, same situation, like literally seconds after the ending, Killzone 3 begins. And when Killzone 3 begins, we see members of the ISA trying to revive Vazari because they're all scared. Like, they're all fucking scared because they're like, if this guy is dead, we're fucked. We ain't got no reinforcements coming. If the Helghast know about this, they're gonna do. They were scared. Like, They were trying to get off of Helghan after that. They were all pissed off at Rico for killing Scholar Vazari, because if they didn't get off the planet, they all knew if they did not get off Helghan, they're fucked. They're dead. They all knew that. They all knew that, and we all knew the stakes after that situation, right? So basically, Killzone 3 is basically about the soldiers that were in the war are trying to leave and run. Like, they are trying to run away because the Helghast are out for blood. Like, no, like, law, no warlord, like, no, not warlord, like no Geneva Convention laws, no like prisoner of war laws or anything like that. Anyone who is not a Helghast, dead. That is basically what the Helghast was on. If you are out here protecting a human, you're dead. If you are out here not shooting humans, you are dead. If you are out here seeing humans and you're not reporting it to the Helghast authorities, you are dead. That's basically what it became. So throughout Killzone 3, it's basically trying to get off the planet or trying to find a way off, right? But what happens is most of the crew gets captured and gets sent to prison. But you said, well, you just said there were no prisoners of war. Correct. So what they planned on doing after they caught the who they thought were the killers of Scholar Vazari, they wanted to execute them on national Helghast television. And of course, it did not go well. And so, as the ISA soldiers are trying to get off of Helghan in the Helghast prison, there is a lot more facilities and more weapons for them to basically get out of there. So they tried their best to get out of there, and they tried, and some other soldiers as well, tried their best to bust those soldiers that have been captured out of prison. And all of this whole game is basically just trying to leave. But what happens in the very end, and I love the ending of Killzone Shadowfall, we get the best battles. Like, we basically got to get a spaceship battle in Killzone 3. That is probably one of the highlights of the whole franchise, was like the spaceship battle between the ISA and Helghast. It was basically, these sides are desperate for a win. Anything that could help them win the war, they will do it. And boy, whoa, what did they do? So, another character, the person who tried to broadcast the execution, called Johann Stahl, right? This guy was basically a member of Scholar Vazari's high-class group who run the society, right? And after Scholar Vazari is dead, the others in that group are trying to get to be the big boss. They want to be the next Scholar Vazari. So there's tensions between these people in Scholar Vazari's like hidden hand group, right? Or Scholar Vazari's ultimate Illuminati, if you think about it. They're all bickering amongst each other. They basically are falling apart because Scholar Vazari was the man who held it all together. And that's basically what Killzone 3 represents, the falling of a society. Basically, after the execution that Stahl tried to broadcast fails, he goes on a mad one. He says, look, I'm going to do something better. I'm basically going to go to Earth, and this guy's a genius. He has the most advanced technology the Helghast have. He has this like element called petricite, and it basically is like this radioactive substance that makes matter unstable, and basically like a nuclear bomb, but not really. It makes everything radioactive and inhospitable. So Stahl and his secret army were gonna go to Earth, drop it on Earth, and wipe out the humans. And this is where that spaceship battle I was talking about right earlier. So what happens is, the ISA get this information and they are like, yo, it's a lose-lose situation. We die here trying to stop that thing, trying to stop Stahl from wiping out humanity, or we die in general. If we don't stop him, humanity dies, and then we die afterwards. So what happens is, right, it's a desperate dogfight in space with spaceships, and they go onto the mothership, and we basically sabotage it. And boy, what happens next? Stahl's ship begins to malfunction, right? and all this war is going on around it. Chaos is everywhere, above Helghan, in space, in lower orbit, and on the planet. Stahl's ship with the Petrosite falls onto Helghan, right? And it I believe it falls. And it basically wipes out the entirety of Helghan. And there is only a few Helghasts left. So it was a mass extinction that the humans did to the Helghast, right? And that is basically where Killzone 3 ends. You just get left on this bonkers cliffhanger, and you're all just sitting there like, what just happened? Did we just kill off an entire planet of people? And everybody was just waiting for Killzone Shadowfall, or Killzone 4. That's what we was expecting it to be called, right? We are all waited for this. We are like, bro, what is gonna happen? What is gonna happen? Then we got Killzone Mercenary, which was a spin-off. It was alright, but it wasn't Shadowfall. It had nothing to do with the main story of 3, or the main trilogy. Then we got Killzone Shadowfall, and in every aspect, like I have said, it sucked. Gameplay sucked. Voice acting sucked. Story sucked. Multiplayer sucked. The weapons sucked. The only thing that did not suck was the graphics. Graphics to this day still hold up very, very well. But with Killzone Shadowfall, basically the humans were like, we're sorry for wiping out your planet. We'll give you half of ours, and we'll build a wall where you lot can live on that side of the wall, and we'll live on this side of the wall. Even though for generations we have been at war for over 100 years, we're still going to just let you take over the complete other side of our planet. We don't care who you kill. If they don't make it out in time, we're just going to give you the planet. Do you see the first flaw? Do you see the flaw with that? Right? So what happens is, most of this game of Shadowfall doesn't actually continue with any of the plots of the original 3 games. It just basically said, the wipeout happened. You don't know what happened to the characters who actually did those things, like Sev, Rico, and Jammer, I believe her name was. I think it was Jammer. The black woman in Killzone 3. Her name was Jammer, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. We don't get to see those characters again. All we know, in a small little dialogue, not even dialogue, a small little collectible in-game where you get one little newspaper saying, Sevchenko and Rico are war criminals for wiping out Helghan, and if you ever see them, they must be punished. We don't see those characters ever again, and we don't actually see how they reacted to what they did to Helghan and the Helghast people. But we got Lucas Kellen, the Shadow Marshal. The most boring first-person protagonist you could ever play as. His suit was cool. His voice actor was awful. His story was awful. I didn't like Kellen at all. Like, the guy who, I think it was Hacker. Remember Hacker? No. Hacker wasn't the Shadow Marshal. It was the woman. Templar's ex-girlfriend in the first game was the Shadow Marshal, right? She was way more interesting than Lucas Kellen in Shadowfall was, and she barely did anything in that game. But yeah, overall, Killzone Shadowfall was just not good. And then we got the ending, like I said. Now we're finally going to get it. So, Johann Stahl, the guy who was going to wipe out Earth, but ended up inadvertently wiping out his own kind, he was still alive, and he was still on Helghan, despite how inhospitable it was. Like, chunks of the planet are floating out into the sky, bro. Like, it's so uninhabitable, you can't barely even stand on it. But somehow, Johann Stahl was still alive, old, and then when we basically get more right before we're about to get the revelations, right? Your commanding officer, Lucas Kellen's commanding officer, the black guy with the American accent that was awful, right? He comes out of nowhere, shoots Johann Stahl, and then shoots you. And I'm like, what? What are you shooting me for? I'm on your side. I'm on your rascal side. We shouldn't be out here trying to kill one another. We've been doing this for generations. Why do you want this to happen again? And he basically says it's necessary, or it's for the best of our people, or some shit like that. And then he basically shoots you in the head and kills you. And then we're like, what? 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 And then, and after that, then you play as the chick, the Helghast chick in Shadowfall. Didn't like her. I liked her, like her design, like the character design. But she was such a miserable little shit. It's like, get off the fucking screen. I don't want to hear you complain. Like, because she was half human and half Helghan, and it's like, oh, neither side accepts me for being a part of both. And it's like, I don't fucking care. That's how I was with Shadowfall. It was just so bad. Right, so basically, she tries to get revenge for you, because your commanding officer killed you, because he was basically just trying to kill the Helghast, because he didn't trust them. Then you do this last bullshit mission, and I hated doing this mission, where you basically have to sneak in through the ISA base, and then you have to find a location to sniper kill the guy who killed you, your commanding officer. Basically, he's trying to justify the eradication of the Helghast all over again. And then when you finally, after failing that mission, after getting detected multiple times, Killzone should never be a stealth game. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Should never have stealth. It's a war game. So, when you finally complete that mission after being detected so many times and having to retry it, you basically say, you line up your sniper rifle, you line up the shot, and you say, for Kellen. Right? Because your commanding officer killed you and is trying to start the war all over again. Then, when you fire the sniper, then you get this bullet time, where you follow the bullet. You follow it until it hits the guy, but you don't actually see it hit him. You don't actually see him die. When the bullet gets close enough, the game just ends. And it's like, what? We don't even get to see the guy that killed us die, but you just randomly give us the credits. And that's how the game ends. That's it. We don't actually see any aftermath to that. We don't see anything. But all we know is the commanding officer that instigated the reignition of the Helghast war gets killed, and we don't know what happens. Such a bullshit ending. And ever since then, the Killzone franchise has pretty much been dead, because Killzone Shadowfall in every aspect failed. It didn't give anything back to the community. It was not a Killzone game. The identity was so radically changed, it was not Killzone. And now, because of what the lawsuit with Killzone now, yes, the lawsuit, there was a lawsuit about the game, basically how Sony and Guerrilla Games tried to claim Killzone Shadowfall can be played at 60 FPS at 1080p. They basically got sued for lying and basically said like, yo, you can't play the game at that. Why did you claim that the game was being able to be played that? And they tried to say like, we use special tricks to the console to get that resolution. And basically, I don't know if they lost or won that lawsuit. When I mean lost or won, I mean like Sony and Guerrilla Games. I don't know if they won or lost, but based on how the Killzone franchise trajectory went after Shadowfall and going radio silent for damn near 11 years. 11. Killzone Shadowfall released in November of 2013. We're about to hit November of 2024. You get what I'm saying, people? Yeah? So after that lawsuit and after multiple years of the fans asking to give us a new Killzone game, we were never being listened to. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Even if we got Guerrilla Games where they are today, We were the foundation of Guerrilla Games, and it's very sad to see how they've basically just tried to drop their community that got them in the position that they are and fucked up the franchise so badly, and they didn't even try to fix it. I have been a Killzone fan for a very long time, and I keep being disappointed because Sony is making video games I have no interest in. I have no interest in Horizon Zero Dawn. Why does this franchise get multiple remasters when they're already playable on both consoles, when we don't even, well, the last remaster we had was for Killzone 1, and that was back in like 2012. They gave us a remastered collection in 2012. It's 2024. Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't know, came out like 2015 or 16. We've got like four, so we got 4 versions. So we got Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, then Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and now Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. Where is Killzone getting remastered? Where is Killzone 2's remaster? Where is Killzone 3's remaster? Hell, where is even Killzone Mercenaries, or Liberations, or even Shadowfalls? This is why I lose respect for a lot of companies today, because they get successful of a community, then they drop the community when they get successful. This keeps happening all over the place, and companies wonder why entertainment isn't making the same amount of money like it used to. Don't get it twisted, Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely, and that's a fact, more successful than Killzone ever was. That is a fact. Fact. It is more successful than Killzone. And I don't give a shit. I like what I fucking like. So does everyone on planet Earth. Right? Honestly, Sony, I would say give the Killzone franchise to a new company. Because Guerrilla Games fucked it up before Shadowfall. They were fucking up multiple times before that. So honestly, a new company with a new take on the franchise would honestly do well. I would just prefer to continue where the franchise left off. Like, if you want to get to understand about the other games, make the remasters, do the remakes, so new fans can play the old games, get up to date, and we can get a new franchise. But I don't want Guerrilla Games making another Killzone. If we are to get another one, I certainly do not want this company touching the franchise again, especially with the fuckery that we got with Killzone Shadowfall. So, that was my video on the Killzone franchise and why I'm not happy that it's dead, but it's Guerrilla Games and Sony's fault, honestly. Sony tried to promote this game as the Halo killer. It never was the Halo killer. Never. And I am a hardcore Killzone fan. It was never going to do that. Ever. PlayStation, man. My whole life, I've only had one Xbox console, and that was the 360. I'm saying that as a fact. Killzone was never going to be able to kill Halo. Ever. But what do I know? I'm not a developer. I'm just somebody who likes to play quality games. And in this day and age, there is shit games coming out every week. I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Were you Killzone fans? Are you not? How do you guys think about the situation towards the Killzone games? And I am sorry that I used Starship Troopers gameplay. I am not getting Killzone Shadowfall gameplay. I'm not playing that game. And I don't have anywhere else to... I don't have a capture card device to play Killzone 1, 2, or 3. So, Starship Troopers gameplay, unfortunately, has to do the trick. Or has to do the job for now. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.